見て見て。私らのことやってる。
Lena, who had been looking at her phone, happily showed us. It looked like she'd been watching TV. They were covering the flood in the lower city and...
丘の奥に取り残された学生たちとは現在も連絡がつかない状態が続いています。
連絡つくよね。
We do have cell phones.
以上、現場からでした。とても心配ですね。さて、ここで実際に取り残されている学生と電話がつながっています。もしもし。
もしもし。もう本当に困ってて。あ、メゴチンの声。
Ah, God, so we are in contact. The news was just plain disorganized lately. Well, that aside.
ですがよかった。シルビー様たちのことは秘匿できたようです。
They were primarily covering the flooding of the city on TV. They mentioned students left behind in a dormitory, but didn't reveal that it was Noble Academy. What's more, they didn't even allude to Sylvie's involvement, of which it was common knowledge she was attending that very academy.
この国の警察は優秀ですわね。
I've heard cynical comments that the CIA is also surprisingly adept at smothering information that's damaging to themselves too. Fine by me so long as Sylvie wasn't affected by it, which meant we could focus on our own safety and well-being.
このご時世、電気止まっててもなんだかんだ暇つぶしくらい楽勝だよね。
You can't charge anything, so watch out.
おっと。
She'd already changed to a different news station, but shut it off.
最近の携帯電話ってテレビも見られるんだ。
You didn't know? Oh, that reminds me. Your cell phone is...
これよ。
She naturally had one, partially in the name of security, but she pulled out an old-fashioned flip phone.
またレアなの持ってるね。日本では主流だという日本の会社の携帯をわざわざ用意したのですが。
It's a nice gesture, but it's rare to see anyone using a flip phone nowadays. For better or worse, they had gone international and were occupying a foreign country.
でもいいな。私このパカパカって折りたたみができる携帯が好きよ。可愛くて。
As long as you're happy, then that's what's important. Basically, the only features you needed for security were phone, email, and GPS. Smartphones are honestly overkill anyway. I only ever use mine for phone calls and email too. Same goes for any TV functionality. I haven't used it once since upgrading to my current one.
画面がちっちゃいもんね。
Yeah, exactly. I don't even watch much TV anymore, but if I were going to, I'd rather it were on a huge screen. I patted at a TV setup in the room. I wished I could at least have one this size.
その分今みたいな電気がないと見れないけどね。
Well, that's for a day or two. It's not really... Ah. That was when I realized it. Even if I didn't care about TV, having no power meant... My DVR also wasn't functional. Which meant the live broadcast of Maria Bishop I had set to record at 7 p.m. tonight. Arg!
ああ、思い出した。
Rena had apparently realized it. Ah, damn it, seriously? Today of all days?
諸行無常だね。おー。
Based on Sylvie and the others' faces, they didn't understand. Elsan, can you use your royal cheat powers to get your hands on, like, a generator or something?
考えてみましたが無理です。この量一つの暖房電力を賄う発電機など。
Just one TV is enough, and a recorder. I'm begging you, I'd even be fine with a bike kind of generator you have to pedal in the worst case.
あれ、実在するんですの?
Ma, what should I do? As I was busy freaking out.
What?
Whoops! That was my neighbor telling us to shut up. Sorry. I went ahead and apologized.
お隣、どなたか住んでいるの?
Oh yeah, a delinquent.
へえ、お会いしたことがないわね。
She lives in a totally separate world from a princess after all.
でも私、ノーブル学園の生徒なら全員顔を覚えているのよ。
一度も見たことがないなんて不思議。
Everyone?
王室をはじめ貴族社会にとって人の顔を覚えることは最も大事な素養の一つですから。
驚くことじゃございませんわ。私だって全員とは言わずとも学園の半分くらいは顔を覚えてますわよ。
Nobles were astounding. Even now I only recognize around 80% of my classmates.
それは単にオーロが失礼なだけ。
Oh, shut it. I remember everyone I'm close to. This just means I don't have people I'm friendly with.
菊長の顔パッと思い出せる？
Huh?
うわ、マジで覚えてないかよ。
I'll remember when I see him.
まあとにかく会ってみたいわね、お隣さん。
As we chatted about this and that, the sun began to set.
お腹が空いてきました。
The biggest issue with the survival lifestyle finally rears its head. Dinner time has come.
なんだかんだでお昼も食べてないものね。お昼は適当にお菓子とジュースでごまかしたので、さすがに空腹が気になってまいりますわ。
So then, don't you think I'm amazing for having a cup noodle stockpile?
神かよ。素敵。
とても助かります。
All of the supplies in the convenience store were split between the other residents, but we refrained from taking our share, as we had my stock of cup noodles to fall back on.
いやー、悪いねオーロ。ありがたくいただきます。
Not happening. Shoot.
あれ、
Mwah! Ha ha ha! So this is all the food we have? If you want it, you'll have to compensate me somehow.
あらあら、唐突に汚いですわね、このゲロは。なんだ、何が欲しいんだ？お金か？
Oh, that does sound sweet.
エル、私が自由に使えるお金っていくらくらいあったかしら？
側近なら日本円で30億ほどでしょうか。
緊急事態なら50億程度は可能ですわよ。
You shouldn't throw around that kind of cash willy-nilly. You're making me actually want to demand money now. Unfortunately, money is not even fit to wipe your butt with here. This is a kingdom of carnage where food and water is everything.
ちくしょう。オーロは急にどうしたの？サバイバル映画とかに出てくるゲス役がやりたいんだよ。ほら、一人だけ銃持って調子こいて最後に殺される。ぴったりな配役ですこと。
Now you want food, don't you? Then what will you give me?
あ、この腕時計なんてどうかしら。ほんの4億円の品なんだけど。
Ugh, that's not the point. I was terrified that as long as they weren't on the same wavelength with my game, the thought of possibly becoming rich would genuinely bring up the evil inside of me.
シルビー、ちょっとおいで。え？
She mumbled something quietly into her ear.
そんな風に言えばいいの？そう、日本人の礼儀。わかったわ。オーロ、もう一回最初から。
Oh, he. What will you give me, princess?
なんて汚い男なの。
Now we were talking. Say what you will. Right now, I am the only one with food.
悔しい。
Her performance was a little overblown, but Sylvie's reaction hit all the right notes. It had my sleazy side raring to go. Let me see you. Why don't you do something special for me then?
サービス？何でもいいから悔しがって。何をしろというの？
Good question. First, I'll have you strip those troublesome clothes and provide some R-rated goodness.
を求めるようなら首を飛ばしますが。
I'll spare you from that for today, but can't give you any food.
悔しい。
While we were playing, Get food! She kicked me.
今ですわ、お姉様。
Nga! Hey, it's too soon for the comeback scene. They ended up holding me down.
まったく、いつまでもうだうだとオチがつかないから。でも楽しかったわ。ねえみんな、オーロといると楽しいでしょ。さっぱりわかりませんわ。
Anyway, you have got me pinned down. Mind letting me go? It hurts. They released my arms.
どうする？まだ遊ぶ？
I'm good now. So about those cup noodles. We had 6 packages. I'd also bought some beef jerky for when I got sick of the taste. Reina had also brought some random candy, so we had plenty of sweets. It shouldn't pose any problem for a single meal.
カップ麺はいいとして、これお湯が必要なんですのよね。お湯はどういたしますの？
Yes, that was the issue. No open flames were allowed at this dorm, so all cooking apparatuses were electrical. That obviously went for all students, as well as the cafe. Since we didn't have ready access to a heat source, we couldn't even make hot water. The hot water dispenser, even though it's insulated, the power has already been out for 8 hours. I tried opening it up, but it wasn't steaming anymore, just a bit lukewarm. If worse comes to worse, we'll have to make do with this.
ぬるいスープなんてやだ。美味しいわよ、水で作っても。やだ、気持ち悪い。
Sounded like it bothered us Japanese, who were accustomed to eating it hot.
できれば温めたいですね。今夜は冷える。
The temperature gradually plummeted over the course of the night. It would surely be a cold evening without any heat. It was true I wished we could reclaim some heat through our meal at least. How should we handle the hot water? Then... Whoa! A mysterious beam of light shot from the toy and struck the pot in my hand. It boiled!
すごいわ、キュロちゃん。
It was incredible, but don't aim at something in someone's hand. My life would have been in danger if it had missed. But...
あれ？バッテリー残量 3%。メモリ待機モードに入ります。普通に喋るんだ、この子。
Its usual "gue" is a personality quirk. With that, it stopped functioning.
どうしましょう。充電できないのに。
Never thought the last thing it did with its sci-fi tech would be to boil water.
犠牲は無駄にいたしませんわ。お湯が温かいうちにいただきましょう。
Good idea.
カップ麺は一人一つとして6つあるから1つ余るわね。
We'll save that for tomorrow. Oh, nah. I'll take that. It's okay, right?
もちろん、もともと気候のものだが。
2つ食べるの？太るよ。
No. There's someone else. I put in the hot water and went outside. I knocked at the next room over. Oh, no reply. She wasn't the type to ignore me. No sooner did I think that when...
うるせえな。だから行けないっつってんだろ。
A voice came from inside.
道が使えねえんだから仕方ないだろ。ああ、この情報は出すなよ。この学園にいるってネットとかでバレるから。とにかく今日は休む。以上だ。あとはそっちで話合わせとけ。知らねえよ。そっちでなんとかしろ。
Must have been the phone, and she was yelling to boot. It might be best to give her a moment, but I had already put the hot water in that ramen. I knocked one more time, and when I did...
客が来たからもう切るぞ。とにかく今日の出演はなしだ。じゃあな。
Oh, performance.
なんだよ。
She came out. Hey, that call, was that okay?
ああ、ちょうどいいわ。切る理由ができて。
I worried about my timing, but I guess it worked out.
なんか用か？
I'm sure you have heard about today's meal situation.
ああ、何もないからみんなにコンビニのもん配って。あとは各人で、だろ？
Right, and so... Here, a present.
うん。
I handed over the cup noodles. Ria's eyes went wide.
いらねえよ。お前が食えば？
I've got my own helping, and enough for everyone I'm close to. This is the 6th share. If there's any 6th person I'm close to in this dorm, it's you.
あ、そう。
She went into her room, with her cup noodles in hand. Pretty shameless, but her honesty was one of her good points. I headed back.
お隣さんに？
Yeah.
なんだ、ついでにご挨拶したかったのに。
She mentioned wanting to meet her earlier, hadn't she?
どんな人なのかしら？
Like I said, she is a Yankee.
アメリカ人ですの？
Doesn't Yankee refer to New Yorkers? I meant that she can be kind of a black sheep.
ソルティレージュにはキュロちゃんがいるけど、日本は機械人間を作ったの？
That wasn't what I was implying at all. Princesses didn't seem familiar with euphemisms for lowlifes.
いわゆるニューギャングです。日本の文化で勉強したでしょ？
ああ、不良、そっちのあれよね。バス停の看板持って盗んだバイクで走りながら待ってたぜこの時をよとか言いながら夜の校舎の窓を割って歩くのよね。
You've mixed up so much stuff, and all that sounds like it came straight out of the 80s. She's an ordinary girl with a small smoking habit.
なるほど。
Elsan squinted her eyes a bit. There was a residual smell of cigarette smoke in this room, so she must have been suspicious.
ユニークそうな方ね。
シルビー様、あまりご興味を持たれぬように。
She's not a bad person, okay? I introduced her poorly, must have triggered Elsan's internal security sensors.
だが不良というのは。
That scared me. Something smashed violently against the door. Everyone went stiff, wondering what was going on when... The door opened on its own, and a bag of some sort was hurled inside. I spotted a hand for a moment. It was Ria. Hey, Ria. I tried to stop her, but she just waved her hand like she didn't care and closed the door. All that left behind was the bag. It had several metallic items inside. Canned food?
わっ、コンビーフだ。うまそう。
There were 5 cans of corned beef, 5 of yakitori, and 5 of sweet corn. 15 in total.
お礼でしょうか。
Now that I thought about it, she was the sort who always holed up in her room. I bet she would have a stockpile of food.
リアちゃん柄は悪いけど結構筋を通すっていうかかっこいい系の子だからね。
You know her?
知らないよ。でもあっち目立つから。
That was for sure. All of this for one bowl of cup noodles. Feel bad I couldn't do more. Guess I'll take it though. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
ええ、コンビーフ食べてみたかったの。
It was a rare occasion, so we decided to accept. Our dinner turned out to be much better than a single bowl of noodles.
超絶ジャンクだけどね。
More or less, the only dietary fibers is in the corn.
いいじゃない。とても美味しいわ。
味と内容に文句はありませんが、困ったものです。
たまのことです。これも経験ですわ。ごちそうさまでした。やっぱり気持ちが収まらない。お隣さんに会いに行ってくるわ。
姫様、しかし。
危なくないったら、ねえオーロ。
Not in the violent sense, at least. She might yell, though.
行くわ。
Sylvie left Elsan behind and walked out of the room. Her guard looked a bit worried, but Sylvie would probably disapprove of being so on guard the very first time meeting someone. I guaranteed that Ria wasn't a bad person, so she decided to leave her be.
お姉様は誰とでも仲良くなってしまう達人ですからね。だね。
Yeah, she is.
嬉しい半分、困るの半分です。
If I had to say, Sylvie herself was friendly, but everyone around her thought she was out of place. Regardless. Was it a result of her princess training? I did think her ability to make a favorable outcome out of each and every encounter was one of her stronger attributes.
私も助けられましたわ。
Huh?
何でもございません。
She whispered too quietly for me to hear.
ただいま。
Sylvie came back before we had a chance to worry. Welcome back. You don't look too satisfied. For someone who was usually all smiles, her dreariness was plain to see.
会ってもらえなかったわ。何を言ってもうるさいって。もう。
会う約束がない点ではこちらの落ち度ですが、にしてもいささか失礼な方ですね。
Just ignore it. I assure you she's not a bad person, but that doesn't make her a great person either. Being rejected left Sylvie feeling depressed.
にしてもあの声、どこかで。
Ah!
どうしました？
Sorry to change the subject, but it's 7 o'clock. Everyone be quiet for the next 2 hours or so.
は？
I launched the TV app on my phone.
あなたが選ぶ21世紀のアーティストトップ 10!
何？音楽番組？
Yeah.
視聴者にとったアンケートで人気のあるアーティストが生で出演するってやつだって。
It was the one being advertised this morning.
日本に来て数ヶ月なのでよく存じ上げないのですが、こうしたテレビのアンケートはいつ取っているんですの？日本に100年住んでてもわからないから知らなくていいよ。
It was the program where Maria Bishop was going to hold her live performance. It wasn't looking like I could record it, but I at least wanted to watch. I don't think she will show up though. I'm watching it alone, so you guys can chat over there or go to Arena's room or whatever.
出ていけと？なんで？マリア・ビショップを見てるとそんな気持ち悪い顔でブヒブヒ言っちゃうの？
Nothing like that. Just make absolutely sure you don't look at my face during the performance. I didn't know what sort of face I'd make, but I bet it would be nothing short of strange, the sort of face I'd never want girls in my class to see. I sprawled out on my bed and took my distance from the others. But
マリア・ビショップ。はあ、オーロもマリア・ビショップが好きなの？
oh wow! Sylvie popped up beside me. She was staring at the tiny screen of my smartphone. Sylvie-san? So close!
お姉様、殿方の部屋に上がり込むのはちょっと。こうしないとテレビ見られないじゃない。マリア・ビショップが出るんでしょ？
Sylvie had gotten her usual cheerful smile back.
シルビーはマリア・ビショップ好きなんだ。
ああ、この件はオフレコでお願いします。
王族が芸能人に入れ込むとプロパガンダに利用されかねませんの。でもすごく好きなのは日本に来た理由の一つなのよ。
Wow! This was some unexpected common ground.
オーラも好きなんだ。
Well, yeah, I guess I don't hate her.
毎朝毎晩あの黒髪を見てチン爆裂してますって言えよ。
Shut up!
チン？
幻聴です。
好きなんだ。趣味が合うわね。
Yeah! In one way or another, we ended up watching together. Then again, Maria Bishop was definitely the most highly valued brand in the Japanese musical industry today. They were probably dragging this out since she wouldn't go on for a while. It was a 2-hour program that started at 7 PM, so it'd probably be around 8:15. I would watch the chat riddle program until then. Since it was a smartphone screen, Sylvie and I were the only ones focused on it.
日本の音楽は完全なアイドル産業なのね。
The first to come out, which may well have been expected given the boys they gathered to thrill, were idols from a famous office. While it was presented in a dancing format, the choreography was simple. The camera stayed glued to the face of the lead singer who stood front and center. They call it the quote-unquote music industry, but 70% of its ratings are decided by the faces of the ones singing. Next up was an idol group of just over 40 girls. After that came an artist that recently made her movie debut. I wouldn't say this applied to them all, but they were generally pretty low-level singers.
やっぱり先進国はどうしてもそうなるのかしら。
Is it not that way in Sortilège?
私たちは音楽は聴くものというより自分でやってみるものという感じかしらね。その点は我々の方が特殊だとして、こうしたアイドル性重視の音楽はどうかと思いますわ。音楽が音楽である必要がありませんもの。かっこつけてれば歌が上手くなるなんて聞いたことありませんわ。
She was a somewhat fastidious princess. I did think what she said was accurate, though. Rather than calling something music, I wish they'd be more critical of the music itself. If you wanted to see handsome men, cute girls, or happy-looking celebrities, you could just buy a photo album. It wasn't just music. These days people would butt in and act like they were experts, doing movies, recordings, cooking, sports, fishing, and so on and so forth, just because they were idols. I did think it was strange to act like it was all okay just because they were stylish. And when that thought came to mind,
あら、私はこういうのも好きよ。私たちのやっていることとは違うというだけで否定するのは良くないわ、みな。
Sylvie quickly acted like the big sister with her usual mild tone.
確かに彼らは歌に音楽そのものに純粋とは言えない。でも彼らの時間を作ることには純粋よ。目いっぱい歌って踊って笑ってテレビのこちらに楽しい時間を提供したがってる。音楽の一番の価値はそこでしょ。
Creating a good time, huh? It made sense when she put it that way. I didn't think showing off made everything okay, but it was a quality inherent in moments made by music. It might be important then.
ごめんなさい。ミナの言うことも間違ってないったら。ほら、一緒に見ましょう。はい。
It wasn't stern enough to be a lecture, but more of a mild chiding, and Sylvie ended the discussion right then and there. Thank goodness I didn't say that I agreed. Still, what Sylvie just said was a fresh point of view. They were genuine in creating and living in the moment. Could that be?
さあ続いてはいよいよ皆さんお待ちかねマリア・ビショップさんが登場します。
Oh! It was already 8:13 p.m. and the headliner for the event would finally be making an appearance. With that, a massive 3-minute commercial break began. It's happening. I'm really excited.
生放送で見るの初めてよ。あんまりテレビ出ないもんね、マリア。
That might actually be a good thing. Solitary performances increased their values through scarcity. It was a world where those who appeared on TV were the victors, a world where if you use connections or whatever else to constantly be on camera in front of viewer and sell your face, you would win. However, that was exactly why someone who rarely appeared on television, yet whom fans eagerly waited for, looked so radiant. Even a long commercial break didn't bother me.
さあ皆さん、いよいよ今回のアンケートでも女性部門ぶっちぎり1位を飾ったアーティストマリア・ビショップさんの時間です。
Oh, they did a proper count of the surveys?
雑な判定。
ですが残念なことにマリア・ビショップさん今日は急な用事で出演できなくなってしまいました。
Uh?
え？
The host and idols all had a foolish back and forth going, "That's too bad," and "What can you do?" Idols sure did have it rough. They had them downplaying the ineptness of TV stations like this too. But for us viewers, our expressions were nothing but serious. "Hey Civi, can you use your royal cheat powers to crush this TV station?"
いけません。
潰す潰さないはともかく。ねえエル、私も久しぶりに腹が立ちそうよ。お姉様が怒った？シルビーが怒ることは珍しい。
They swindled us! Even if you were to assume the worst case scenario and that it was beyond their control that she couldn't perform live, it was an issue that they said, "Here she comes," up until the commercial shortly ago.
テレビが視聴率低下に困る理由の一端が垣間見えたね。今頃局は抗議の嵐かな。
Absolutely, I want to storm in there and protest right now too. Better put my smartphone to use as an actual phone.
ちょっと待ってオーロ。
But before I could... Or? It must have been to fill time. They put on cobbled together footage of all of Maria's previous performances. Including footage of her singing, of course.
やっぱりいい歌ね。すぐ機嫌直った。このお優しさからお姉様はソルティレージュでは仏のシルビアと呼ばれてますのよ。仏教あるの
？My anger hadn't completely subsided yet, but... Well, I guess I'll give up on making a protest call. It's a waste of electricity.
やっぱりこの歌だわ。国にいた頃にイギリスのショーだかなんだかで聞かされて、すぐに恋に落ちちゃったもの。
I know how you feel.
誰かさんは髪しか見てないんじゃ。
Shut up! I'm in the middle of appreciating her.
Hey, hey.
I listened intently to the soothing song. I mean, yeah, I adored her appearance as much as could be, but that wasn't the only reason I was addicted to her. Sylvie seemed satisfied.
これだけでも満足だけれど、でもやっぱり生で聞きたかったわね。
Yeah, same.
こういう映像ばかりだと顔がよく見えないのよね。どれもそっぽ向いてるのばかり。
That's a good point. Maria Bishop looked down a lot during her performances.
顔を出さないならブサイクなんじゃない？
No, she isn't!
近い近い。授賞式の映像では顔が出ているものもあるわ。すごく可愛いのよ。
日本人らしく童顔ですが、私も可愛らしいと思いました。
It was normal to plaster makeup on the less attractive celebrities in order to further sell themselves, but Maria Bishop went to great lengths to hide her face for whatever reason. I wondered why.
理由があるかは存じませんが、それもミステリアスでいい雰囲気作りにはなっておりますわね。そうね。
I turned my attention back to my phone screen. They may have been short on time, as the editing was sloppy and repeated the same footage on loop again and again. As far as I was concerned, that was nice in its own right.
彼女はとにかく時間作りが本当にうまくて、そして一生懸命だわ。この歌を聴いている一時、私たちも彼女の世界に、彼女の時間に引きずり込まれてしまう。そんな力がある。彼女が自分の時間を心から大切に使っていると伝わってくるから。
I agreed. She worked for dear life. Not just at singing, that was clear from the footage and from her inadvertent motions. You couldn't comprehend someone's powers of concentration from their appearance alone, but it was something you could convey. And that was something in which she was especially skilled at. I just got that feeling deep down in my heart.
彼女のゴールデンタイムは今なのね。
At some point, the room had gone quiet. This had to be one of those moments you describe as being lost in the music. It was too bad that we didn't get to see her live. But I was glad I watched this program today.
あら、ところで
What's up?
この声ってどこかで聞いたことないかしら？
Huh? I mean, I've heard this song tons of times.
そうじゃなくて、つい最近というか、ついさっき聞いたような。
Huh? Ah, crap. My smartphone gave a warning notification. 2 hours of watching TV wore down the battery and there was only 5% remaining. What a bummer. Guess that's all for today. Maria Bishop's screen time had just wrapped up, so I closed the TV app. Our entire day was dictated by this blackout, huh?
ですね。
ちょっと目がしょぼしょぼする。
The lights had been out the whole time, so focusing on the screen would wear your eyes out.
それに、ちょいと眠いですわ。
It wasn't quite 9 o'clock yet, but that was enough to make everyone drowsy. Maybe it's about time we called it a day?
そうしましょう。寝床の用意なども必要です。
せっかくのお泊まりなんだからもっとおしゃべりしたい。
You can do that stuff before you go to sleep, but you can't do it in my room.
オールは一緒に寝ないの？
Let me flip that around and ask, would that actually be okay?
いいと思いますか？
I was directing that question to Sylvie. Everyone dispersed from my room. The 4 of them would apparently be sleeping at Rena's. It was spacious enough and I was lending a futon, so it should work out. Okay, all that left was to sleep. I couldn't take a bath, so after a cursory wipe down of my body... Oh, it's freezing. I slipped into my futon. It was naturally tough to fall and stay asleep. I wasn't sure if it was because it was only 9 o'clock or because it was freezing. Or if it was because a tinge of Sylvie's bittersweet scent had permeated into the futon.